So, No Nut November is coming up, and even though it is a bit childish once you get past a certain age, because you realize, why am I only gonna try not fap in November, and then for the rest of the 11 months I start fapping, right? So, although once you grow older, it's a bit stupid for maybe the more amateurs when it comes to self improvement and no fap. Here's some advice for you on your No Nut November journey next month. And that advice is just simply going outside, right? Literally, like when people say go and touch grass, kid, like literally go and touch grass. Like get out and find other things to keep your mind occupied. For example, let's say you spend part of your day at a job. Let's say you've got a job, you're working at the job for a few hours a day, whether it's full-time, part-time, whatever, right? As long as you're getting out working, because it's not that you're not gonna want to fap while you're at this job, but you're not going to have the time to fap. You're not going to have the time to even think of fapping, because when you're at a job, you're starting to gain new problems. Like, I don't know, maybe someone at your work is, not a nice person, or the job in itself is quite stressful, right? When you have other problems to worry about, other life issues to worry about, you don't even think of fapping, because you just think to yourself subconsciously, right? Like, I've got so many bigger problems. Why am I so concentrated on fapping anymore? You're not thinking about fapping anymore. You're not a child anymore where, oh, you want to fap, you want to beat your meat. You're not at that stage anymore. You're maturing, you're gaining life experience at a job or wherever outside, and you're also gaining more grown-up problems, having to pay bills and stuff like that. And once you grow up and have your own, have to take responsibility for your life, right? It's, you're not a kid anymore where your parents pay the bills and all this. I'm sorry if I'm out of breath as well. I'm working out while filming this video because I've just thought of this idea. So I'm out of breath. So, give me some time if my delivery's a bit off today. Sorry. But yeah, once while you're out, it's fapping is just non-existent. I remember when, I was struggling with no fap and I was at that apprenticeship job for a couple days because it was garbage. Fapping never crossed my mind while I was at that job. And guess what, right? As soon as I quit that job, the next day I quit that job, I relapsed on NoFap. And I it was an accident. I didn't mean to ejaculate, but I did, right? I was touching it too much and it just happened, right? So that's not a coincidence that as soon as I quit the job and don't have responsibility anymore and I could just bum about and be lazy, then I relapse, right? So this just goes to show that you need to join to get a job or join a social club, something to keep your mind occupied, something to put more thoughts into your mind. The main reason why most guys fap, yes, obviously it's because of our mental health and we're lonely and whatever, right? But even if we do feel those emotions, we're not gonna fap if we are occupied. Right? I assume you're not that bad to fap in public, right? Fap at your job, right? You're not gonna think of that. So if you always keep yourself occupied, always out with friends or whatever, basically, the more you're out the house, the less you're going to fap, right? Even me, I'm not perfect, right? I'll admit, I've recently a couple times edged, right? I've edged a couple times, right? Which I know I shouldn't have. And both of those times, it was, I'm pretty sure they were both at night. Actually, no, one was in the day, actually. But they were both times when I was just so bored out of my mind and I didn't have anything to think about, right? I didn't have anything to work towards at that moment because, it's coming up towards the end of the day, or it was the end of the day, and, I've done working out, I've meditated, I've done all the self-improvement habits, so I'm just sitting there in my bed what do I do? What am I even doing? What am I even doing myself? And that is when the devil starts to talk in your ear, now you're bored, now you can, look at some dirty websites and whatever, right? So, even me, I'm not perfect, right? I still mess up sometimes and I still look at things I shouldn't look at. Even though it's not often, I still do it, right? So I'm not making any excuses. I want to be real with you on this channel. But that just goes to show even people that are experienced with no fap, like me, for example, still mess up if we are not occupied, if we are not keeping ourselves busy, if we're bored, right? You can blame your mental health and, you being lonely, on the reason why you have a porn addiction, for example. But it's mainly because you're bored, right? Let's be honest. Yeah, there's going to be that one guy that's at work thinking about porn and stuff like that. But 9 times out of 10, no matter how addicted you are to fapping, if you're at a job or at a club or with your family or something, you're not really going to be thinking about that, let's be honest. Maybe for the first minute or two, and then it's just going to leave your mind because you're going to have other things to think about. Other thoughts are naturally and automatically going to enter your mind. So that's everything I've really wanted to say. There's not really much else I want to talk about. Just ask yourself, right? If you are a fapper, if you do fap every day, maybe you fap even once a week is not good, right? Like you shouldn't be fapping at all, really. Like obviously, like there's some people out there that will say like if you fap like a few times a month, it's not that deep. But overall, you shouldn't be fapping anyways because it's degenerate. It pollutes your brain with just like, you know, unhealthy thoughts, and you know you see women in an unhealthy way as well. So no one should ever be fapping, right? If you ejaculate, it should actually be with a woman, right? That's what biologically we are supposed to do, right? But if you are a fapper, look at yourself, look at your life, and think, am I going outside enough? Like, am I just like playing the victim card, blaming my mental health and my loneliness? Like, what am I doing to fix my mental health and my loneliness? Am I going outside? Am I seeing friends? Do I have a job? Right? And if you don't, and if these criteria are not ticked, you need to get a job. You need to get out. You need to see friends, right? Whatever it is, just get out the house. It doesn't matter what you do. Just get out the house. As long as you're not doing anything degenerate like drugs, just get out the house, do something with yourself, and you'll really notice that you won't even, like, fapping won't even cross your mind anymore. It's not even a thing where, like, you want to fap but you just don't do it, or you don't want to fap anymore. Like, I'm sure if you like thought about fapping enough, no matter what, you'd kind of want to do it, right, to an extent, but it wouldn't even cross your mind anymore, and that's the point. And you know, if you follow this advice and get outside, keep yourself busy, then I'm sure you are going to succeed on your No Nut November journey, and not only just not fap in November, but not fap at all, right? Like, No Nut November is stupid, right? We don't want to just like not fap in November and then fap for the rest of the 11 months. We want to not fap at all. So, you know, use No Nut November as motivation to not fap. Cool, right? That's fine. That's one good thing about No Nut November, because it gives people the motivation not to fap. But then continue that. Keep it up. Don't just don't just fap on December the 1st. That's just cringe. That's just like, you're just a goofball. It's just cringe, because that just goes to show that you've been thinking of No Nut November the whole month. Like, on No Nut November, you don't want to think about No Nut November. You know what I mean? You just want to just get out there, get a job, right? Last year, I made a bunch of No Nut November videos to specifically help maybe NoFap amateurs to start their NoFap journey. So if you are interested, I'll try to leave something on screen now for you to watch. It's all on my mindset playlist anyways, if I forget. So if you are interested in improving your NoFap streaks and whatever, right, check my mindset playlist out now and just scroll down a bit to last year November, because I've got a lot of good guides for you. Thank you for watching. As always, take care and peace. If you have enjoyed this video, consider subscribing if it has helped you out, because there's a lot more coming. And yeah, cool. Take care, guys. Peace.